what we're doing today?
What are we doing today, Mr. Plowman?
We're interviewing Hillbilly Vegas, man. Hillbilly Vegas are a high southern energy rock band that mixes outlaw country with a healthy dose of blues, man. Originally formed in 2011, and they are rocking. They played everything from dive bars to festivals to biker
Yes,
stuff to
that's
everything.
the fun stuff. That's the fun stuff.
The fun stuff, man. So we got Steve Harris, man, the lead singer of Hillbilly Vegas today here on the Plow Zone. And let's bring him on. Let's talk to him about what's up. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Let's bring on Steve. Welcome to the Plow Zone radio show on Otel Music Videos on Roku TV, my friend.
Hi, guys. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Right up. So go ahead, Reese. Go ahead, Reese. You got a question for Steve Harris right here of Hillbilly Vegas?
Steve, what were your so you got all your guys together. When did you know you had all the right parts for this band, Hillbilly Vegas?
Oh, man. Honestly, when we first started the band, it wasn't very serious. It was a side project and fun for everybody. And so we didn't chase things around for all these years. In about 2018, we got a record deal, and we started had to make choices. You know what I mean? Some guys don't want to go that far. We kind of started over late in life in this band because I had an early career in music, and it went so far, and then it stopped, and I raised my family, and I didn't think I was going to do it again. And then for fun, we started in 11, and then it got serious a few years later. And so you kind of have to weed out guys that really want to pursue that, and guys that just wanted to have the fun and stay home, and they don't want to get involved in chasing that dragon. So I think for the last couple of years, once we started touring overseas and seeing our names on the charts and things like that, we had to get some guys that came to us, and I think we've got the right set of guys now for the last couple of years for sure.
Let's talk about your early years now. Now, talk about your career before Hillbilly Vegas.
I was a rock musician early on. Got a record deal with a major label. Never even got an album out. You sign those deals, and they tell you how great you are and everything you're going to do, and then suddenly the phone stops ringing because someone in Seattle got signed instead. And it's not Seattle's fault by any means. I mean, if I would have had great songs at that time, which I had good songs, but I think
Right.
Honestly, if you have great songs, genre doesn't matter. And I think that maybe a lot of people blame grunge in those days when the truth is maybe they just didn't have good enough songs. You know what I mean? And so I think that's where I was. I think my songs probably weren't good enough to withstand a genre change and a tide change in music. And so that was okay. I raised my family, and I was fine with that. And years later, my son's old enough. He's playing guitar, and he asked me, how come you don't do this great stuff anymore like you used to do? I'm taking care of you. We're raising you, And so then I got into it a little bit, like I said, for fun at first. And like the Disney movie, The Rookie, turns out my fastball was better late in life than it was early.
There you go. There you go. All right. How would you describe your writing process? You write the songs, you write a melody, you hear some lyric that's going to inspire you to write a song? How you do it?
How we did it for this album, since everybody's kind of spread apart now, is guys make music demos at home, and they send them to me, and then I do the melody, the lyrics, and all that stuff. If I hear a piece of music, I pretty much generally know in the first 30 seconds to a minute what that story is going to be about. I can see the whole movie in my head, whether I have all the music, all the lyrics or whatever yet or not. I can see it. And so then I just start working. I like to put those, I like to plug that in the car and write while I drive that music. And I listen to it a couple times through, then I turn the music off, and then I just work on the melody and lyrics and all that stuff before I rejoin the music again later. But that's generally how I do it. Now, sometimes I write my own music and do my own thing, and then I'll send it to the guys and say, hey, I'm not a great player. I'm good enough to write. You know what I mean? So here's this music and words I've written, Geraldo or whoever, do something with it. And they'll send it back to me. Like on our album, Find Me Yesterday, that was my music and lyrics that I put together on guitar, and I asked Geraldo to transpose it into piano, and it came out like that.
Cool. Hey, so the Plow Zone is here with Steve Harris of Hillbilly Vegas, man. So, Steve, what keeps you driven, man? What keeps you driven in this music industry? Because you don't have to do it if you don't want to, right? You got to stay driven. So, what keeps you inspired? Say.
Well, in the music industry, that's just a killer. You know, just you kind of got to pretend. You got to kind of pretend that part doesn't exist. I don't know. You know, they always. I like sports metaphors. You know, they always say, "Hey, find your why." If you know what your why is, then you know why you do it. You know what I mean? And you get up every day and you think about your why. And so I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what's. You guys are in the entertainment business too. Do you know exactly why you do it sometimes when things aren't going great? You know what I mean? I don't know if we're all just too dumb to stop or whatever, but
agreed. I think that's it.
Know, but as long as
we're in the music industry, entertainment business. Holy shit!
I didn't know that.
We're all part of that wheel, man. We're all folks on that wheel. No, I don't know, man. I just like to create as long as I can create stuff at a high level. But I don't want. It's no fun to suck. You know what I mean? So you won't find me. You won't find me when it's all over in some little dive bar playing acoustic cover songs all night long. When I'm done creating, I'll just be done. I'll just disappear off back into the woodwork. Nobody will ever know I did it. But till then, and until I can do it like I'm doing, well, I can do it like I'm doing it, then I'll keep going for a while as long as people like it.
I gotta say this. Hey, this is the Plow Zone public service announcement. It's no fun to suck.
That's right.
I like that.
Yeah.
Reese, you can use that. You can cut that out, man.
Guys,
it's no fun to suck.
You always hear guys saying, "Oh, I don't care. I just want to get up there and have fun." And, you know, and I don't care if we all know the song. Well, I care. You know what I mean?
Do.
So because there's no fun in being terrible, if we want to be more correct on it. But yeah, you know. So no, I'm enjoying it right now. We're having a good time. We're making good music. People are resonating. It resonates with people, and people are following us and coming to see us. And you know, we're no longer in those little dive bars, as you mentioned. Now we're in theaters and festivals and places like that. So.
Well, let's talk about your band. You have a few people that have done a few things in the music industry, and you have a guest vocalist on your new song, Mr. Midnight. Why don't we talk about that a little bit?
All right. Well, we'll start with the guys in the band. Of course, my partner for the last, 10 years or more, Stacy Thornburg, our lead guitarist. He and I have been the constant together on this, and I couldn't do it without him. And then our drummer, Gunnar Moulton, who's played in a few different national bands. He's from here. And a funny story about Gunnar, both of our families go back 100 years to a little place called Cecil, Arkansas. So his family and my family have been intertwined as members of the community and friends and neighbors for over 100 years. And now he and I are playing in a band together. So that's very familiar. And then in 2018, when we got that record deal I mentioned, the guy that was mixing our songs back then, Geraldo Dominelli, he was so good. And he and I struck up a friendship, and pretty soon we said, "Hey, why don't you join the band?" And he did. And he comes from a long line of bands. He started out with Loverboy in 1989 as a touring keyboardist and rhythm guitar player, and then he played with the Paul Dean Band, which is a guitarist from Loverboy.
Wow.
His solo project, he played with him for years, and then he also played with Paul Rodgers in his solo act. And Geraldo's been with us now since 2018. And then our newest member, Todd Ronning, is actually the longest tenured bassist in Bad Company next to the original bassist Boz. And Todd was in Bad Company when he came to us. He played on our album, our last album, The Great Southern Hustle. And he and Geraldo went to school together. That's how they know each other.
Wow.
And of course through Paul. And Todd, he had some time on his hands because Paul had decided not to tour anymore. And so we took Todd on a tour overseas, and I just asked him one night, I said, "Hey, what would you think about joining the band full time?" I said, "Don't answer me now. Just go do the tour, think about it, and let me know, when it's over or when you've had time to think about it." And like 24 hours later, we were at the O2 Academy in London, in backstage in the dressing room, and he looks over at me and said, "Hey, I thought about it. I'm in. Let's do it." And so that's how Todd came to us a little over 2 years ago now, about 2.5 years ago. And Todd brought us Mr. Midnight. It was a demo that he and Paul and the guys in Paul's solo band had worked on several years ago for eventual solo album that Paul was thinking about doing. And they did a bunch of demos, as a matter of fact. And Todd sent that to me when we were getting this album together. He said, hey, listen to this and tell me what you think about it. And I listened to it. Of course, Paul Rodgers being one of my favorite singers, it's really cool to hear Paul Rodgers in a rehearsal room on a cell phone.
Yeah.
If you've never heard that, just Paul in a rehearsal room on a cell phone, that is a glorious thing to behold. But here's the thing about Paul. He sounds as brilliant on a cell phone in a rehearsal room as he does on Running with the Pack or Bad Company or Feel Like Making Love, all that stuff. I mean, he's just got such an amazing voice, whether it's rehearsal, whether it's on an album or whatever. It sounds like 20 guys singing at the same time and perfect always. And so I wasn't real sure as a singer what I was going to do with that. But I went ahead and tried it. And we are also now managed by the same manager that manages Paul and Bad Company and several others, David Spiro. And I talked to David and I said, do you think Paul would sing on this? And David said, I think he would. So Paul took it. He sang a couple of lines on it. We asked him to sing a couple more. He did more. And, when we first got that recording back, I was just starstruck. Of course, I don't get that starstruck much because I don't really care. But, Paul, so I listened to that song. Stacy and I got in his truck and we listened to that part of the song where Paul's singing it probably 20 times over and over again. Not the whole song, just that section, you know what I mean? You go, wow,
Just that.
and so it was great. And when he came on, it was like, wow, And then Paul and I started exchanging emails, and he's just a wonderful guy, down to earth, just a wonderful guy. And it's just been amazing. That's definitely been a highlight to have Paul on this album and Paul. One of Paul's songs. Only we didn't, of the 11 songs, we wrote 9 of them, and 2 of them were from Outside Riders, and one of them being Paul. And it's just very exciting to have Paul on that song, and Paul's been great about it. He's done press for us. He's just went above and beyond. It's just I tell you what, guy's one of the greatest rock voices there ever was. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he makes time to do anything that people ask him to do, and he's just a great guy.
Great artist. Great artist.
That's got to be a good feeling, man. That's got to be a good feeling that you could collab with people who's been there, done that through the years, been around. And what have you learned from that experience, messing with your bass player, the keyboard player, and Paul Rodgers and all that? What have you learned from that?
I think that when you start jumping levels, and we've kind of in the last couple of years with all the radio singles that have reached the top 10 and top 20 now, we've kind of started jumping levels. All of a sudden, you're slow for years and you don't know if you're serious or not. And then all of a sudden one day you turn around and you're jumping levels like every couple of days. And you realize when you start touring the world and you start being on the road for months at a time, that you better have guys that can actually do that. Know how to do that. And I'll tell you, Todd and Geraldo are fantastic guys to tour with. Their process, their professionalism, and just being good guys. They brought this is confidence to what we're doing, and I really appreciate that. And of course, I always pick Todd's brain. Hey, how did Paul warm up? Or hey, what did Paul do? Because I'm not a big warm up guy, So it turns out Paul wasn't either. So just asking Todd questions like that once in a while. But we've become friends, and then we started writing together, and those guys are just really good writers. Their music is fantastic, and so it's been a joy being with those guys.
Wow.
Okay, man. So give us some of your tales of the road, man. Do you have some epic moments, man, about the crowd participation or any kind of Spinal Tap moments?
Well, what I learned about Spinal Tap moments is I never understood that completely until I started playing bigger venues. We went out on tour with Ted Nugent for 2 months, and we were with Ted and his people every night for 2 full months. And the first night I saw this guy, one of his crew members, taping white arrows on the floor, right? And I said, "What is that?"
Taping arrows on the floor.
Yeah, he said, "Follow those, and you'll never get lost to the stage."
To the stage.
And so I thought, yeah. So there's no "Hello Cleveland" moments. You don't get lost in the bottom of the bowels of these theaters and these different places because Ted has an arrow guy, and so
he's got an arrow guy.
Arrow guy when you get it, because these things are they're not always just music venues. They're multi-purposing for rodeos or different things like that. So there's like locker rooms and just junk everywhere and places and hallways and stairwells. So, man, that would be the most important thing I learned on the road as we got up to bigger venues is follow the arrows. And so I know that's not very exciting.
Follow the yellow
No,
brick
man,
road.
we played for 60,000 people at NASCAR. That was fantastic. You know, we overseas we've started playing to big festival crowds and really big crowds, and the people. We've had 8 singles on the radio overseas now, and the people after 5 tours and 8 singles, they know our music almost as well as I do. So if I miss a word, sometimes they tell me, and watching people sing back to you, and
That's got to be a feeling.
Personal highlight was I got to go up every night and do a song with Ted during his set every night when we're on tour.
Wow.
Playing a song that I remember from when I was young that I loved Just What the Doctor Ordered is what it was. And and we had been talking to Ted about that song, how much I loved it. He said, come up and sing it with me. And then after we did it once in St. Charles, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, he said, you know what, come up and do it every night. And so that was a big highlight. And, you know, and things like singing with Lorraine Crosby. I sang with her twice. And if you don't know who Lorraine is, she is the female voice on I Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That with Meatloaf. And
wow.
If you remember that song.
Yes, I do.
It was supposed to be Bonnie Tyler. It was supposed to be Bonnie Tyler, and they hired Lorraine to do the demo, and they liked her so much they just left it. So Lorraine is a very, very sweet person, and she lives just outside of Newcastle, England. So every time we play in Newcastle, she comes down and she gets up on stage, and we do a couple of songs together. So that's
we are here with Steve Harris of Hillbilly Vegas, man. He was just talking about some of the heavy hitters he played with in the past, man. So what have you learned from some of those rock and roll icons that you play with, and what advice have they given you?
Well, I think the biggest thing that you learn is that they're still doing it at a high level for a reason. It's because their process, their work ethic. You know, in the case of Paul, he's such a clean living guy, you know what I mean? And he takes it very seriously, and he will not compromise what he does if for anything. If he doesn't feel like it can be right, he won't do it. And he's very, very, very picky about that. And, you know, sometimes artists get the reputation for being moody or whatever, but it's not that. It's just that people expect the best from you when they buy a ticket every night, and you have to make sure everything is the best around you. And with people like Ted Nugent, for instance, Ted, you know, I know he's polarizing in a lot of ways, but when you tour with him, he just talks about music and he treats you great. His grandkids are running around backstage, his family's all there, and Ted loves good bands. And when he heard us and brought us out, he gave us his crew, his lighting, his sound, same dressing room, same catering, everything, and just treated us like gold, and just, you know, basically told us, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about outside noise. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that you get from these guys who have succeeded at a high level. They're themselves, and they do what they do, and they don't worry about outside noise. And that's something that's why we have so many genre jumping songs, because we just decided, you know, I mean, what do we got to lose? The music industry is going to kill you anyway at some point. You know what I mean? So you might as well do what you want to make yourself happy.
True.
So what gives you the most joy about being on stage? How do you know you have an audience right where you want them, man? Say.
I can see it in their eyes.
They're singing back to you.
They sing back to you, but sometimes you can see it in their eyes. And I'll tell you what, if you get them, you just keep them engaged, and you speak to them, and you hope your music resonates with them, but you just make them feel a part of the thing, because without them, they're the other members of the band every night. So you know, there's a different lineup to the band every night that you play somewhere, because that is like, what do they call that? The 12th man, you know, in some colleges and things like that. The crowd, you know, and that to us, that's our 6th man, the crowd, because they dictate how things are going to go. And we've been really lucky because they've been really good.
Very good. All right. How did you come up with your band name, Hillbilly Vegas?
Man, I don't know. I like silly band names. You know what I mean? I like band names that, like Leonard Skinner. I know it was a takeoff on a gym teacher. It's
gym teacher,
but it's funny.
Yeah.
But it's funny, you know what I mean? And Aerosmith. What's an Aerosmith? You know what I mean? Or I don't know, just all that stuff. I always liked that. I wanted four syllables. I think I got five instead. But anyway, Hillbilly Vegas is just something silly, and it's just kind of like, we have casinos everywhere here, but our casinos are different than Vegas, man, because
Oh, I get it now. I get it now.
Yeah.
Hillbilly Vegas.
Oh,
casino.
Oklahoma.
you pull up. Listen, man, you pull up at a gas station here, and you can fill up your tank. You can go inside and get you a fried burrito. You can buy a dream catcher or an airbrush wolf hat. Drop some money in the slots. You know what I mean? And get some discount tobacco all in the same place. So that's not everywhere. That's not everybody doesn't have that. We have that. That's who we are, and so you embrace it. It doesn't mean that's all you are. It just means that's where you are. You know what I mean?
For some, yeah,
I get
obviously,
it now. I get it. Very good.
I know it. Ding, 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 ding. Now it's making
Ding,
more
ding.
sense. I was thinking, okay, they're from Vegas. They're Hillbilly Vegas.
Yeah, people always think that. And I got to tell you, when we were in Nashville, when we were first, moving up things, and we went to Nashville, and we get all these songs submitted to us, and I have received every song with the word hillbilly in it, I think, has been ever written.
Wait a minute. So they sent you a song. They sent you a song, and they want you to do it. They want you to play it or what? Or record it?
Well, our first record deal was with the Nashville label, and Nashville's a machine. Nashville is like a factory. They have the songwriters, they have the studio players, they have the engineers, they have the studios, and they have the producers. And it works like that. They don't want you to play your own instrument in the studio. They don't want you to write your own songs. And they don't want you to do anything yourself. They want to control it all. So, yeah, they start sending you songs listen, I got some songs by some famous writers when we were in Nashville, but every one of them wanted to send me that hillbilly song. You know what I mean? And I get it. The name, listen, there things come with the name. When you put the word hillbilly in it, there's things that come with the name. I get it, but it's okay. The trade-off is right. But when we got out of Nashville and we decided this album, for instance, we didn't go to a studio. We recorded this all by ourselves. Nobody.
Really?
This is us. No producers, no anybody. This is just us.
And where'd you do that? Right there in home, right at your
here
house?
in our warehouse, where we rehearse
Wow.
and do everything else.
And you do it live, or do you record?
Yeah,
I mean,
everything's pretty well. I would say that the rhythm sections are recorded together and live. All
Right.
my vocals are one or two takes, first or second take, and usually the first take is getting levels, and then I just sing it. And the reason for that is because, man, you go to some of these studios, they want you to sing it perfectly 5 to 6 times, and then they start picking out words, and they start piecing the words together in phrases, so it's perfect. And I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to be how it is. There's no auto-tune. There's no tracks or tricks. That is 100% first or second take us on everything on that album, and no auto-tune. None of that. It's just us. If there's a bad note, I must have wanted it that way. I don't know. So we leave it.
Meant to be. Man,
Yeah.
So what do you think about AI and music?
Well, I remember when Pro Tools
Like that?
came in. I'm old enough to go back, you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's not for me. But I realize that it's going to be a part of things for some people. I'm sure that there's a lot of it in the tech, in the computer generated music. You know what I mean? The pop and things like that. But we like a good old tube amp, a guitar, some real drums, and real voices. And even though we use Pro Tools, our recording process was as if we were recording on tape, which means you don't go back and edit a bunch of stuff. You just play it one time through. So those are one continuous take, everything that you hear on that album of ours.
Yeah, I think AI is useful for certain things, but I think music is kind of sacred to me. I don't want a computer going, okay, here's the hot thing to do or say and the beat, and I'm going to throw that out there. And I mean, they say that about a drum machine. They say that about in the beginning, but this is a little different. They're creating the entire song, everything.
And it's so inhuman. You can tell, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can feel it. There's nothing there. And I like the squeak on John Bonham's bass pedal when you hear it in headphones. You know what I mean?
And the guitar on the fingers going,
Sure.
Yes.
A little sour note here and there, whatever, and that's what I like. And I think that's what people like. And so we may be a throwback, but we just say we're real people who make music for real people. You know what I mean?
Out of all your lyrics you've written, man, what's one of your favorite verses? And what song is that?
Favorite verses or favorite songs? I'm not going to say the newest ones like everybody's probably supposed to say. You know, there's a couple of songs that go way back from when we started the band, when we didn't even know we were going to be a band, and songs we don't even play anymore, songs that aren't part of anything that ever made anything from us. But at that time when I was just getting back into songwriting and relearning how to write songs and all that, some of those first songs that we wrote that nobody probably will ever hear are some of my favorite, because it reignited my love of songwriting, and it got me started again. So those first songs that we wrote way back when we were just a bunch of buddies in a room, that'll always be some of my favorite stuff, just because it kickstarted this whole thing. You know what I mean? And I love everything that we've done. They're all, I can pick things apart when I hear it recording, because I wish I did this or that. But the truth is that what I love the most is when somebody else tells me they love a song and they love a lyric that I wrote, because that means my story was part of their story too. And so that to me is always my favorite, when I hear somebody else tell me what it meant to them.
There you go. That it touched them. Your song touched them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you've traveled overseas, right? You've been over what, to England, what, Europe, what, Japan?
Yeah.
What?
No, not Japan. Yeah, we've done 5 tours in 3 years in the UK. We have.
So what's the difference between American audiences and audiences over there?
Watch a 1980s glam rock Motley Crue or Poison video. That's the crowds that are still happening over there. That wild and that crazy and that jam-packed against the stage and that passionate. And
really?
There's pockets of it in America. Don't get me wrong, but over there, they don't care if it's Sunday night, Wednesday night, Tuesday night. They don't care.
Wow.
You know, when we first went over there, saying, "Well, you're playing in London's O2 Academy on a Wednesday night," and I was thinking, "Well, that's going to suck." They just stuck us there because, you know, no sir, 1,000 people jammed up against that stage, all there. Yeah, they don't care. They support that music. And the other thing about them over there that we don't really have here anymore is they buy CDs.
Still?
They love CDs.
CDs.
Yeah. Listen, they would rather own a CD than stream your music. They'll tell you, "No, I want to own the copy in my hand. I don't want to stream it. I want to own it." And that's very, very big to them. You know, here we have CDs because it's just something you have just in case, right? But over there, you sell out of them, and they want more and more. And so,
wow.
But look, the high school kids over there are still celebrating World War II V-Days and things like that, like it was yesterday. So they have a different reference. They have a different reverence for history, and I think they think of time differently than we do, because, you know, yesterday to us is way in the past, and we're over that. They're not so much.
We're done. All right. Live or studio? What do you like to do? Live.
I like to create more than anything. But then once it's created, I know that's a dumb answer, but I like both. But I would say it starts with me with the creating, because if you didn't create anything, there's no reason to go out and play. So I like to start there. And then once we create it, we feel good about it. We played a couple of these songs last summer in England on tour from this album, but we're going to feature, I think, on our tour coming up in July and August, we're going to feature, I think, 7 of the songs from the album on our set this year. And so I'm curious of how the 5 that we haven't played live are going to come out. So looking forward to that.
So let's talk about the album. Tell us about it. I mean, how long did it take you to write your songs? Did you have a theme? Did you have, or just put them all together and come up that way?
Every time that I think I have a theme or a plan, you know what they say? They say, "Tell God what your plans are and watch him laugh." Yeah, that's how it is. And so, no, we didn't record any extra songs either. Everything that we wrote, we recorded, ended up on the album. It's not like we wrote 20, like they say, "Oh, we recorded 25 songs. We picked the best 9. We just picked the 9 that we had, and that's what we did. And we wrote the album over a couple of months exchanging demos. And then we got in the studio and we spent 5 days.
Hence the name A La Mode, huh?
Yeah, A La Mode.
That's a great name. I like that. Just basically, it is as it is. This is it.
That's right.
Is that what all?
Well, here where I live now, and you guys, I told you before, I grew up out in the Bay Area, but I've lived in Oklahoma longer than I ever lived there now. And so here where I live now, your favorite thing to hear on Sunday dinner is save your fork, there's pie. And so when you save your fork and you get that piece of pie, the best thing is when they drop you a scoop of ice cream. Where's my hand? Right on top. That's a la mode.
A la mode.
That's right. So just getting something, having something, and just making it even better. You know what I mean? So
got it.
Very cool. A little history behind the headlines right there. A little history behind the song. Yeah, Reese.
I just did an interview with a French magazine, and that's the first thing they asked me there, because there it means a certain style. I think is what's in the mode. I think it means a certain style there. And I said, listen, I'm sorry to pervert your language, but to me it means a hunk of ice cream on your pie. And so,
so how many interviews do you do, man? How many people have you been doing interviews with and all that stuff?
Multiple a day, every day.
Really? So we're not the first or the last, right?
No, but listen, you guys have some special stuff to me, and this is fun. This is multiple guys. This is the first time I've had two guys interviewing me, and the other thing is that it feels like I'm on a sports show, and I like that because I'm a big sports fan. And the connection to the San Francisco Bay Area, which is dear to my heart because I grew up there.
That is
the
right,
Plows.
yeah.
That's really my last name. My last name is Plow, man. My family's from Oklahoma. You know, so there's some plowmen there in Oklahoma. Yes, for sure.
It's a good place. It's a good place to live. I don't regret coming here at all. I love it here. But I still miss, you miss things about growing up and things that you knew. You know what I mean? Still an avid 49er fan. I will never not be a 49er fan. Yeah. And grew up with the Oakland A's. I'm never going to not be an A's fan. So
the Sacramento A's now.
The Las Vegas A's, right? They're gone there.
Yeah,
right?
but they're playing in Sacramento.
Right now, yeah.
They're playing in Sacramento right now. Yeah.
Well, they play like a AAA team, and I think that's where the AAA team used to be, right? So.
Yes, the River Cats. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your other songs. I hope you know. Why don't we talk about that one a little bit?
Well, we're excited about that one. That was the first single on the album, and it reached number 12 in America this week. And so that was a really cool thing for us. We're very excited about it. Geraldo, he wrote that riff, and he was worried it sounded a little bit too much like Joe Walsh. And so our manager, David Spiro, also managed Joe Walsh and is great friends with him. And so I talked to David. I said, hey, this has got a little Joe Walsh in it. You think it's too much? You think we're skating the line here? And he goes, no, but he said, I hope it is, because I hope Joe sues us. He said, that would be funny. No, man, you know what? I don't think Joe's going to be offended if we have a little influence by Joe in our song, because he's a great guitarist and one of the greatest ever. You know what I mean? And his grooves are so infectious and everything. So when I heard it, I felt like that. And then, we just, like I said, it painted a picture. And I got this Thelma and Louise thing going on in my head, and I hope you know what you're doing, because there's nothing we can do about it now. I saw that scene somewhere. And, that's what they're thinking when they're looking at each other as they're driving off that cliff. I hope you know what you're doing, because, once you get to a point, it's it.
All right, we just watched the new video of I Hope You Know from the album A La Mode, and this is the band Hillbilly Vegas. We got Steve Harris here. And Steve, I think Scott Plowman has a question for you, my friend.
Steve Harris from Hillbilly Vegas. I got a question for you.
All right.
You ever been plowed?
Man.
Perfect. That's a perfect rap right there. That's perfect. You just got plowed in the plow zone. Steve Harris from Hillbilly Vegas. It's your other new song right here. It's your other album, and we are very proud to have you on the Plow Zone radio show on Roku TV.
Hey, this is Steve Harris from Hillbilly Vegas, and this is from our brand new album, A La Mode, with our buddy Paul Rogers. That's right. I said our buddy Paul Rogers singing with us on this one, Mr. Midnight.
right, you just watched the video from Mr. Midnight. That is Hillbilly Vegas, and we got Steve Harris here. Check him out, their new album, A La Mode, right here on the Plow Zone Radio Show on Hotel Music Videos. And Steve, you're saying something that you were in radio?
Well, I was in when I lived in California. I was in the Repertory Theater, so I did a lot of theater. And I moved to Oklahoma, and they didn't have anything like that for my senior year. And I got a job. My first job I got was at a skating rink being a DJ. And I'd never been a DJ before, but I've been in drama, so, you know, you just act. So I had a great time there. And then there's this little local radio station here, and I got a job there, and I played. This is the funny part. Monday through Friday, I worked at a rock station in the same building from 3:30 to 5:30 every day for 2 hours, and I played rock music. And then on Sunday mornings, I played Southern gospel music for the station at the other end of the hall. And so I started doing that, and that became one of those things I really enjoyed because I've always loved radio. And then I got into doing play-by-play for basketball and baseball and football for local college and then high school, and then I had a morning show for years on a country station here in this market. So that's how I got into it. I loved it. And I did a lot of interviews like you guys are doing right now. I used to be on that side of the whole thing.
Another level. So we've done hundreds and hundreds of interviews and just getting people's stories and just sharing the music, sharing the love, man, for sure.
Well, you said karaoke. Let me tell you a real quick thing that happened to me. One thing that actually I haven't told this to any other interviewer, so you guys are going to get this one. This only story I told.
All right. What's up?
So when I lost my first record deal and I was dejected and I kind of gave up music, and it had been years, my wife was finishing college and I did karaoke. I ran a karaoke thing Fridays and Saturday nights while she was in college to make extra money. And of course you have to prime the pump sometimes when you do karaoke. So you have to sing sometimes, right? But we had this big setup, so nobody could see me behind the lights. I would just sit behind a desk back there and the lights shining out in the crowd, you know. And so I would sit back there and sing a song here and there just when there wasn't enough people. So I felt stupid doing that because I know karaoke is fun, but for me, I wanted to do so much more, but I didn't know how or if I was ever going to do it again. And so one night I'm singing, I think I was singing the Grand Funk song, Some Kind of Wonderful. And afterwards, this guy walks up to me and he looks underneath the lights and he reaches in. He's got these bright red eyeglasses on, and he reaches and shakes my hand. He goes, "Boy," he said, "you got a set of pipes." He said, "Don't you give up on that singing just yet."
Wow.
And that was Richard Young from the Kentucky Headhunters.
Really?
Very cool.
That motivated you, huh? That motivated you back to want to be a singer.
Eventually it did, but I always remembered that you know, a guy like that, you know, because I love the Kentucky Headhunters. And funny enough, in 2018, when we got our record deal in Nashville, we were signed to the same label and management as the Kentucky Headhunters. And so we actually I reminded him of that story, and he remembered it. You know, he just didn't realize it was me back there, but he remembered it. And yeah.
Was that before you got in the band? Is that before you started playing music or what?
Yeah. I wasn't doing anything at the time. I was just hosting karaoke on Fridays and Saturday nights just for some money. You know what I mean? And you never know. You don't know that you're singing out there and one of those guys is going to come up, you know, and
motivate you.
And that was an inspiring thing. But yeah, I told you I do a lot of interviews. I haven't told anybody that one. So there you go. I like you guys.
That's very cool, man.
Very cool.
Steve Harris right here used to be a karaoke DJ, man. That's very cool. Did radio and all that other stuff, man. We want to thank you. And tell us how to get a hold of you, Steve Harris, or how to check out your stuff.
At Hillbilly Vegas. We're easily Googleable. We're the only band name with that. We're the only band with that name, so it's real easy. Nobody else wanted it. We love it. So that's the easiest way to find us. We're out there. We're everywhere, and we will see everybody soon. And we appreciate the support, and just giving our music a listen and see if it resonates with you. Thanks, man. Guys, I had a great time. Thank you so much.
Privilege and a pleasure to be talking to you today, man, because we love people's stories, and we love sharing the music, sharing the love, man. Steve Harris from Hillbilly Vegas, thank you very much for coming on the Plow Zone Radio Video Cluster whatever show.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it very much.